Hello everybody, so I've played Tower of Fantasy for probably about 70 hours or so, and I have a lot to say about the game. I'm still playing it, I'm still enjoying it. I'll probably still play it for a while actually. And I had some problems with the initial impressions video that I made, but I think a lot of that has changed. I have more developed thoughts on how the game is. So first off, Tower of Fantasy is a Chinese style gacha game, free to play MMORPG. And I've never played a gacha game before, so this is my first foray into this. But I have played MMOs like Final Fantasy XIV and RuneScape, which are completely different types of games than this. First off, the story is not that important, especially the beginning 1.0 storyline. I've talked about this in my last video, but once you get to a certain point past the tutorial in the game where the world is introduced and everything, there is a time skip that brings you to the Meroria storyline, which is the next zone. Vera, it's like a desert area. And they did that because I guess apparently they want to get you to the end game faster. And they don't really think the original story is that good in my opinion. In fact, certain main quests are a certain color, and side quests are a different color, and the initial main quests that they skip, they change it to a side quest, so it's classified as a side quest now. And when I went back to do the main quest of the 1.0 storyline, it really isn't all that important, and I can see why they skipped it. At first I was like, why would they skip it? I'm missing so much. But when I went back, it's basically like you go around, I forget the name of the place, but you have to turn off these Assassin's Creed towers. Basically, you climb them. You basically do like a quest, a big story quest in an area. You climb the tower and reveal the whole map and turn off this tower. You have to do that like 5 times. I think there's 5. But the little stories they have, a lot of them aren't even that important. There's a cool circus area and stuff like that. But like one quest line is just you're helping these miners with some worker strikes and stuff and union strikes basically. And it's just like, why am I worrying about this when I'm trying to save the world right now? But when you get to the Vera storyline, it just the characters seem more important. You see the characters that you roll for. It just seems more you interact with them more. You know their personality, so I guess people get more attached to the characters. It makes them want them roll for them more. But the story like goes along. It just makes more sense. It's just more cohesive, I would say. And even the cutscenes, the further and further I get along, the cutscenes, because this game came out a year ago on PC and mobile, so you can tell they're getting better. Like even the areas. Here, let's talk about the environments actually. So the initial environment for the first area, it's just kind of like a typical like grassland. There's like a snowy area too, but it's mainly just, I don't know, a typical adventure open world game. And the technology, it kind of reminds me of Borderlands, but also kind of like futuristic too. It's kind of hard to describe. But when you get to the Vera place, the variety and the graphics of the landscape, I just think it just gets way better. And Vera is a desert, and even though it's like an empty desert, it just looks so much better, and there's a lot of stuff to do. And and as the story progresses, you go to other areas, like you go underwater. There's an underwater city, which is just really cool. It's just a completely different environment. And you go to Domain 9 later in the game, and it's just like a futuristic China. And there's like a futuristic Great Wall and a giant Berserk hand. If you've ever watched or read Berserk, there's the God hand for some reason. I don't know. It's just kind of whatever. I think it's cool. I haven't been over there yet, so I haven't finished the game, by the way, but I have been to all the areas basically. And even I like Meroria, which is the second main city you go to. It's like cyberpunk, huge city you can explore, which is like really cool. So I think past even 1.0, I still like exploring that area. It's still fun, but the areas are just completely varied and different. You know, they just think of all these crazy ideas that I just think it's really cool to explore these areas. And when you're running around and doing stuff, basically what I've been doing is just running around and exploring and doing the main quest for most of the time. It's a lot like Breath of the Wild. I know Genshin Impact was a lot like Breath of the Wild too, or as well, I should say. I know Genshin Impact borrowed a lot from Breath of the Wild as well. So I think this is a case where Tower Fantasy copied Genshin and Genshin copied Zelda, but I've never played Genshin, by the way. But you're kind of just climbing stuff, exploring. There's just a lot of little tasks you can do, a lot of little side quests, and I just think it's fun. I like turning the game on and just I'll play for a few hours just doing random crap, just running around the map. You know, you don't really need a place to go, you just find places to go. Now, one of the big issues I had in my initial impressions was the menus, and there's still problems with it, but you know, it's only been out for a few weeks on PlayStation, and I feel like they're really pushing out patches. They've been patching a lot of stuff, and I'm kind of surprised they're actually fixing things. Because before, the menus didn't make sense, and it was hard to navigate them, but they made them a little bit better. It's just better to navigate them, and makes more sense. There's still the issue of there's a million menus. There's a lot of things hidden that you don't even know about, which is... I used to have a problem with... When I was thinking about it, I had a big problem with it, but when I played Final Fantasy and even RuneScape, pretty much all MMOs have a problem with menus, so I don't think this problem is particularly that big of an issue, I should say, now that they're fixing the navigation with the controller. I mean, they still have a little ways to go, but I think it's not that bad. But there are a lot of events that are going on. Like, they'll have like 5 or 7 events, and they're hidden in the menus somewhere, and like I'll just be like, or like shop menus and stuff, and I don't even know. There's literally 40 currencies in the game, and I don't understand 90% of them. And I'll just be going through the menus, and I'll just find a thing, and it's like, oh, you've met the login reward for this thing, and I'm like, I didn't even know this was here. Like, what is this? And there's like a bunch of times where I don't even know where something is, and then I have to like look online to find where to go into that menu. There's a lot of YouTube videos for Tower Fantasy where it's just like minute or 2 minute long videos, and it's like, where do you spend your dark crystals, for example? And it's like, oh, you go in this menu and this menu. It's like, okay, fine. Which kind of leads into my next part, the gacha mechanics. So basically, when you're rolling for characters, you're basically rolling for weapons. And you can equip 3 weapons at one time, and your skin doesn't matter as much. You know, I think I've got lucky. I've only I haven't spent any money in the game yet. I'm still free to play. If you're trying to just be economical, you kind of have to plan out that you just need 3 characters, basically 3 high-level characters. And I haven't been pressured too much. I've just been playing casual, and I feel like I have enough for all 3 of my main weapons. And they give you, at least for this PlayStation launch, I got a free SSR weapon, which is the highest level weapon. But I haven't been pressured to buy things. But one of the reasons I think that I haven't been pressured to buy things is because I don't really know what you would even spend money on. Like, I feel overpowered when I'm running through things, and every once in a while I'll run into a boss enemy, and he's just like, he'll overpower me. So I'm not sure how the leveling and scaling works exactly. Probably when I get to the end game it'll make more sense, but like, I just had like the basic noob armor the entire game up until I got to the underwater city, which is Inners. The name is called Inners. And at that point I was like, okay. And I suggest you don't worry about the armor until then, because then there's like a way to do this fishing activity where you can get like the best armor in the game. And I did that. But even so, it's like, it's just I don't even know what it makes sense. And there's I forget what it's called. There's like a bunch of things to make your character's combat score, which is like your level kind of, increase. But I have no idea what it means or when I should, like, how I should do it, and like, it's just really extremely confusing for a new player. But I feel like I'm just ignoring it most of the time, 90% of the time, and I'm just doing the game anyway, and it doesn't even matter. So yeah, so I suggest don't even worry about that stuff until you get to like Inners or something like that, which is deep into the 2.0 storyline. And since we're on the topic of weapons and armor, I really like the combat. You know, there's a bunch of different types of weapons and weapon styles, and there's different elements and synergies and stuff like that. So there's like attack style weapons, there's defense and healing weapons, and then there's the elementals, which is like fire and ice. So you kind of want to have, I think I'm going to go for a balance for my 3 weapons: attack, tank, and healing, or just a balanced thing. I don't really know what the meta is, and all my weapons are frost right now, so I'm just going to stick with frost. So that's going to be my build right now, I guess. You kind of aren't dedicated to one weapon. Like if you have one overpowered weapon, because once you're like fighting, I'll like with my I have my fist weapons, and you charge up a meter, which charges up really quick. And then when you switch to a different weapon, and when it's maxed, then you do like a power attack. Then you're fighting with that weapon and its weapon style, and then you charge the meter again, and then you switch the weapons again. So that's kind of my strategy right now, what I've been doing. and I think it's really it's like an action game, so like you're dodging and weaving and you're stopping time, and I just think it's really cool. I think the combat is really good. It's like one of the top parts of the games for me. It's that and the exploration. And the story is starting to get a little better. Like initially I didn't even care with the 1.0 storyline, so I think they actually made a good call. When I made my first impressions, I thought it was a dumb call, but now I'm like, okay, who cares about the 1.0 storyline? Yeah, so that's basically that's my review of the game. I think it's pretty good. I think I'm gonna just keep playing it. We'll see. So for this channel, I'll probably just try and I'm gonna do some I think I'm just going to try to do some big challenges for the game and upload videos about it rather than guides. There's people who know way more about this game that are doing way better guides than me, or that I could ever do. But there's other games coming out. I know I signed up for the Honkai Star Rail beta. I've never played that. I have no idea how that works. I think it's a turn-based game, actually. That's coming up. Yeah, but overall, I like the game. It's really confusing. I think if you're used to Genshin Impact or other games like that, I think you'd have an easier time jumping in this game and knowing what's going on rather than me, because I feel like I'm just now getting a grasp on it in the gameplay loop. But yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. If you liked the video, you know what to do. I'll see you later. Peace.